let's talk about how to identify and organize our assets inside of Premiere Pro. So I'm in my Bakery Demo 2 project, which I set up in the previous movies in this chapter to practice our importing techniques. It's totally empty because I've deleted everything from it, and now I'm going to bring in my assets again. And so far, we've mostly been importing media that's already been pre-organized into folders, but what I'd like to do is simulate the situation where it isn't pre-organized, okay? We want to talk about how to organize inside the software. So before I actually bring anything in, I just want to make sure that under Media Browser, we have ingest unchecked, okay? We learned about this when we were going over transcoding and creating proxies. We don't want to do either right now, so we want to make sure that's unchecked. Okay, and so I'm ready to import. Rather than traditional importing into the project panel or the media browser, I want to show you how you can drag and drop. And this will help us bring in lots of files en masse so everything's nice and disorganized for us. I'm going to just make sure I can see my desktop, so I'll drag this over a little bit. And I'll open up exercise files and then go into media. And instead of bringing in these nicely organized folders, I'm going to go inside the folders and just start bringing everything in. I'm going to drag and drop into the project panel. And we'll not bring everything in, but a good mix. And a few more folders of B-roll. I'll just do this last one here, Farmer's Market. And then I want to get a nice mix of other media as well. So we'll bring in our images and our interviews. And finally, our music. Okay, so I'm going to maximize the project panel. So it's selected. I'm going to press tilde. And now let's take a look at everything. As you can see, I have 120 items in here. And I want to take a look at what things look like inside of Premiere Pro. In order to categorize everything together, I'm going to perform some sorting. We know that to sort columns, you simply click up here in the header. And so to sort by name, I can click. And now I'm in alphanumeric order, starting with the numbers. And then you can see that everything is alphabetized beyond there. But you can also sort on, for example, label. Okay, so I'm going to click on label, and now you can see that all of one type of media is organized together, which is helpful as we start to take a look at what everything looks like. So I'll start up here at the top. I have a green label, and this is the icon. It looks like a green audio waveform. This is audio-only files, so this is my music. Next, I have a blue label with this icon of a purple film strip and our green audio waveform. This is a piece of media that contains both video and audio. Premiere calls this a movie file. If I go down, I next come to my light purple label, and the icon just looks like a purple film strip. And this is a video-only clip. It contains no audio. We then come down to the pink label with a little picture icon, and this is my image file, and that's it. Now, if for any reason you want to manually change your label color, like if you need to separate out a select group of clips visually, you can. So you can see here that within my images, I have all of these Adobe stock images. So if I'd like that to be a different color, I'm just going to click and then shift-click to select all of them. And then I'm going to right-click on my label column, and I'll just come to Label, and I can assign it a new color. So how about magenta for my Adobe stock? Let's also separate out my interviews. You can see that I have my Esther interviews, and it looks the same as my B-roll. So let's visually separate that out as well. I think the best way to do that would be to sort by name so that I can get all of my Esther interviews together. So I'm going to just click here on my name header, and then I'll come down to my Esther interview clips, starting right here, and I'll shift-click down to here. And I'll right-click on Label, and then come to Label, and I'm going to change that to blue. All right, so working with label colors in this way can be really helpful as you start to organize things. Another column of information that might be helpful in addition to labels is media type. So let me just display that as well. I'm going to right-click here on the header and choose Metadata Display and twirl down Premiere Pro Project Metadata. And I just want to make sure media type is selected. I'll check that and I'll say OK. And here we go, media type. I'll move that over like so. And I can also sort by media type, as you can see. Now, before I begin categorizing everything into bins, I'd like to draw your attention to one more thing related to my label color. I'm going to just minimize my project panel by pressing tilde. And what I'd like to do is just build a very quick sequence with each of these types of media. Okay, so I have my video only clip. I'll drag that over. And I also have my image. And here's my Adobe stock image. And hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. Take a look at the colors as related to the labels that they come from. Here is my video and audio clip. It's called a movie file in Premiere. And then I think our interview, okay, that we changed manually. And then finally, our music clip here, okay? So all the colors of the labels within the project panel are also the colors of the clips in the timeline. I guess one more label to show you, too, is the actual sequence that I made here. And so here that is right here. You can see that it is a green label, and the icon is this little sequence icon. And I'm just going to call this demo sequence. All right, so let's begin putting everything into bins. I'm going to maximize this again. I'll press tilde. All right, and you can come up to File and then New, Bin, or just press Command B or Control B on a PC. So let's just start making bins. I need some for B-roll, okay? I also want one for interviews. And we need images. And we need music, okay? And let's start putting things where they go. All right, so I know there's only 3 music clips, and here they all are. So I'm just going to click and then shift-click and bring those into music. And we'll twirl that up. And the next easiest one is probably images. So I think they're already sorted. So I'm going to click and then shift-click here. And we'll drag that into our images bin. Okay. And we'll twirl that up. Now let's take a look at what's left. We have our movie files here. We have our interviews here. And here's our sequence. And then we have a couple of video-only clips. Let's quickly make a bin for sequence, Command B. And what I like to do for sequence is actually put an underscore and then the word sequence. And that's because when you actually sort within the project panel, this will pop to the top. And usually it's very important to be able to get straight to your sequence. So for example, I'm going to just sort by name, okay? And now my sequence bin is at the top. I've lost my sequence though, there it is. And we'll just drag that into my sequence bin. Now everything else should be either B-roll or interviews. And so let's go ahead and put all of our interviews in the interviews bin. We've already actually made them a different label color, so it's easy for me to pick those out. So I'll select all of those and bring those up to interviews. And actually, I need to bring them down because I comes after B. There it is. And we'll twirl that. And I think everything else is going to be B-roll. Instead of just shift-clicking little ranges, what I can do is just click on one of my movie files, and then I'm going to right-click and then come to Label and choose Select Label Group. Now, all of my blue label movie files are selected, and I'll just bring those into B-roll, which is up here at the top. And I think there's a few video-only clips that also belong in B-roll, and we'll just put those in there as well. And I can keep going if I want. I can put bins inside of bins. Going into icon view could be helpful for this. So for example, in B-roll, if I double-click, I'm in icon view right now, and then I could set up additional bins inside of here. I'll press Command B, and we'll do Farmer's Market, and then another one for Kappa Quinn. All right, and then you can just start to visually drag each of these into the right bin, okay? So that'll take some time. We don't have time to go through all of that right now, but just know that I definitely recommend spending the time and doing this in a way that makes sense for you. All right, so once again, I'm going to just delete everything from my project panel, and that sets us up for the rest of the chapter where we continue to talk about organization methods inside of Premiere.